Hello everybody, welcome back to the stream. Good to see you. Oh, my hair is gonna be wild. I guess. It's fine. Welcome back to the stream. We're gonna be doing some, I think primarily some bug fixes today. I've got a lot of bugs piling up here. A lot of them are related to the new card dimming that I did. So we're gonna be maybe taking a look at that. That shouldn't be too difficult. I don't think that there's anything there that's going to necessarily be a problem. But yeah, we're gonna look at some bugs, and I think, yeah, I'm just gonna try to get to the backlog of all the bugs that we have going on here, and we'll see how that works. So anyway, if you like, you can wishlist Alchemortis. I would very much appreciate that. Definitely check that out if you're interested. Alchemortis is a dark fantasy roguelite auto battler, so if that sounds cool to you, where you can also, well, I should probably put the main hook of the game in that pitch as well. You know what, I'm just gonna quit while I'm ahead. Check out the Steam page. It tells you everything you need to know about the game, and also I've got the Patreon available. If you subscribe to the Patreon at this top tier here, I'm going to send you an Alchemortis Steam key when the game launches, and your name will be listed in the Alchemortis credits. So, a couple of nice perks for you. So this is like a pre-purchase kind of for supporting the game early. And also, I've got the Udemy courses available for sale. This is a great way to support me, and it's a great way to learn how to make games in the Godot engine. So if that's something that you've been wanting to do, definitely check it out. And you can also join the Discord. That's linked below. What else? I think that's it. I think we can get into it. So thank you everyone for your support. Appreciate it. And let's say hello to everyone. Hello, The Ant. Hello, Clickertail. Welcome back. Good to see everyone. Ninja Link, always good to see you. Welcome. You don't like coffee? Yeah, Q Anton Ego. I don't like coffee. I love it. From Ratatouille. It's a, he doesn't say coffee, but Silvio TV. Hello, welcome back. Is your stomach better? I heard you had a fire belly. Very funny. Very funny. Fun fact, your late evening stream yesterday happened at 11:29 p.m. for me, which is why I wasn't here in that stream. Oh, that's all right. Yeah. I know I have a lot of viewers that are in very different time zones, so, can't make every stream. Hello, Snupbill. Yummers. Welcome back. Always great to see that yummers in the morning. Quickly saying hi and getting back to work. Maybe drop by later. Good, or may drop by later. Good luck with game development. Thank you, Bubblegum Lord. I appreciate that. Thanks for stopping by. All right. Hello, Neozoid. Hello. Welcome back. Good to see you. I probably like coffee if it's put in with milk. Yeah, I think that's how most Americans drink their coffee, is just loaded up with milk and sugar, and then it is basically a coffee flavored sugary drink. Me, I'm sophisticated. I am aristocratic. My coffee is black with nothing in it. Bitter. Anyway. Good morning, Chris. Good to see you. Welcome, welcome. All right, let's fix some bugs. So in here, cards do not apply. So we've got a couple of card highlighting and fading bugs. Cards do not fade back in after death and resurrection. So let's go ahead and handle that. Azir, what are you doing, cat? What are you doing? So we've got this fade out and fade in. We're going to need to do this. We're going to need to add a fade into these cards here. So I originally made this with the assumption that they'd never be faded in again, and then I forgot that there is a case where they're faded in again, and there's all of that nonsense, so we're going to have to figure that out. And then there's a highlight effect that is applied when healing is applied, so I'm going to need to also do that one. But let's do fade in first. Kill the dim tween, create tween, dim erect material, fade shader progress to 0. Back buffer copy.visible equals a false. Okay, I think that should do it. So now we can go to the board here. We're going to call fade in on all these cards. Excuse me. Okay. Let's see if that works. So I need to die. And then we'll see if the cards fade back in after they fade out. Latte, if I may say, yeah. Would you like some coffee with your milk? No black coffee, only tea. Tea is really good too. I like tea. Can't complain about tea. Lemonade is my favorite drink. Hello, V. Welcome back. Good to see you. Asymmetrics, good to see you. Good morning to you. Welcome, welcome. How was your holidays? Actually, think about it like I put in coffee, chocolate with tea instead. Hello, MF Biggs. Good to see you again. Hello, Nick. What is that? Sremi? What? Am I missing something? Sremi? Hello, Wooius. Welcome back. Alrighty, let's see if this works. It's Yummers. Oh, I should have known that. It's Yummers backwards. I should have, whatever. Whatever. Hello, Light Tiramisu. Welcome. We are just chilling. We are just chilling. Is it Friday? No, it's Thursday. And now I have to find a combat encounter where I can actually die. Let's go. I'm trying to march to my death here, and it's just not giving it to me. I might further increase the necrosis threshold. I'm thinking about generally making the combats last a little bit longer. There we go. And my cards did not fade back in. Oh, I didn't have any cards on the board. I am not very intelligent. Okay. Let's try it again. There we go. Now the cards are fading back in. So previously, I had a bug where once that board faded out, when the board faded back in, the cards would not fade back in. So that was simple enough. Now the next one that I need to fix is actually going to be a little bit more involved because it needs to swap out the shader material that's on the card for the highlight. So we're going to need to figure that out. Anyway, support cards fading back in. Finally got my mind around the back buffer copy issues. Finally did it. Okay, cards do not apply highlighting when healing is applied. So there's a heal effect that is applied to the board. It's applied to this fade group component here, and it kind of lightens all the colors very briefly. But since the cards are no longer grouped under that component, I'm going to need to do a parallel effect on the cards themselves. So we're going to need to actually be swapping out a material here. Now we've got this canvas group fade highlight material. Do I have a normal fade highlight? Yes, I do. This is going to be easier to look at in VS Code. Fade highlight. Nope, that's the wrong thing. Fade highlight .gd shader. And then I want the canvas group fade highlight. Come on. Canvas group fade highlight.gd shader. There we go. Let's split these. My cat is just sitting at the window screaming. Very nice, very nice. I'm trying to discern. Wonder if there's like a built-in diff tool here. I thought I made a change to one of these shaders. So the reason why these are two shaders that look exactly the same is because one is a screen space shader, meaning, oh, I guess maybe screen space is not the right word, but one shader takes in the screen texture and one shader takes in just a normal texture. Now, maybe I could find a way to merge those, maybe with just a flag or something, but do you mind? Do you mind? What? You are talkative today. What do you want? Come here. Do you want to say hi to the stream? Do you want to say hi? Come here. Hi, cats. Anyway, had to throw a little wrench in the works, yeah. I wish it were Friday. Phil Yummer's vibe check, can't believe it, show's over, guys, yeah. Made it through the holidays, that's good. This week went by so fast, I agree. Hello, Emerson, good morning. Slow work day today, so I'm also getting some game dev done. Excellent. Slow work days are the best days to do game dev. Hello, Jahar, welcome. Good to see you. I'm gonna back buffer copy the issues. Back buffer copy in this economy? Oh my gosh. Good morning, RN Genesis. Good to see you. Alrighty. We love our Firebelly games chat, don't we, folks? So I think these fade highlight shaders are they're basically the same. So what I need to do is I actually need this fade highlight material here. How do I actually do this? Let's see. I might need to manually duplicate that so they don't share the references. Let's see. When I fade something in, it takes the fade out material, duplicate. Fade highlight, yeah. So I'm duplicating this material. So, oh wait, I wonder if I could just, I may be able to actually change entirely what I'm doing. Because I have this visual utilities here, which is designed to make fading things in and out relatively easy. It's just like a bunch of static methods. I wonder if I play fade out. Oh, this is reassigning the fade out. This is reassigning the material. Oh, I may need to change this. Oh, I was going to say I could use these for fading my cards, but the problem is that this is assigning the material every time. So I'd probably want to add a check in here to make sure to see if the material that exists on the canvas item is not already a fade out material. Because if I swap out the material every time, not only am I going to be doing a duplication of the material every time, but it's going to be resetting the progress value in the shader uniform, which means that I won't get like midway transitions. So if you imagine fade out is transitioning on its way to 100% faded out, let's say it's at 50%, and I do something that triggers a reversal where it fades back in, it would look really jittery if it just like started at black after that when it was only 50% of the way through. So the way that I have it built now is that it will just stop incrementing the progress value, and then it will start animating the progress value back to 0. So I get a nice smooth fade. That is not currently supported with this visual utilities here. However, oh, and these are not going to be helpful anyway, because these just force the shader progress value to 0 or 1, depending on whether it's going to fade in or fade out. So maybe the visual utilities are not, yeah, I just won't use that. You know, material set to black. This is also like a nice trick, what you could do. Since you could script basically everything in Godot, I made my own material that extends shader material, and then I can put a bunch of helper methods related to that shader in here. So if I want to fade it in, I can throw a tween on the material itself and just tween the shader parameter. So this is a really nice way of creating like self-contained visual effects packages, I guess you could say, on a shader. You just create your own class that extends shader material, throw a bunch of helper methods for modifying the uniforms and whatnot, and it's nice. I definitely need to use this kind of pattern more, but anyway, I feel like an old man. I'm just going on and on and on about stuff no one cares about. Anyway, so I need this fade highlight here. Sorry, I'm just trying to figure out how this actually works. Play fade highlight. Okay. Well, I guess we will figure out how to make this work. So I'm actually maybe. Oh no, we're good. So card here. We've got this dimmer rect material. So let's do inside my board here. Nope, inside of my card. We are doing. I'm storing this dimmer rect material. Oh, I'm going to need to make a different shader for this as well, because this is going to need to account for the masks. Okay. Let's do this then. Effect noise texture. I'm going to create a new export. This is going to be private shader material. This is going to be the fade highlight material. Yeah, this I'm going to need to modify this. So we're going to need to actually create a new shader for this. In anywho, let's build. Let's see. You know shaders, you know code, you're good at art. How are you so good at so many things? Did you just naturally become proficient by making so many finished games? Yeah. I would say that finishing, making games, and just generally working on games, it constitutes practice, and yeah, practice makes you proficient. So the other thing is, like, I'm 31 years old and I've been doing game development in some form since I was like 14. So that's a lot of time, right? That's a lot of time to get good at a lot of skills. And I would say that I'm not even as good as I should be for how long I've been doing game dev. I would say that I'm actually relatively slow at picking up game development concepts. But we are, yeah, so the proficiency just comes naturally with doing things and learning from your mistakes and failures and trying things out. I mean, one of the reasons too, you know, I struggled so much with that back buffer copy, and it just bothers me when I don't understand why something's working. I just have like this insatiable like desire to figure out what I'm doing wrong. So I have a certain, like, I don't know, tenacity, I guess you could say, when it comes to figuring issues out. And that helps quite a bit too. Heard this was the year Alchemortis gets released. Yes, indeed. This is the year. It's either going to flop or it's going to be great. We're going to see. I don't like chat, everyone. No, don't say that. You've heard of WFC on a shelf, now get ready for back buffer copy on a poppy. All right. We missed you here. Yes, we did. I hope you had a great holiday season. That's the best thing I missed from being in the military, traveling the world and trying all the different food. Hello, Bomb That Explodes. Welcome, welcome. He's a necromancer. He sold a soul doesn't mean what it was his. Prospect of having food what keeps me going till the next meal. That's one way to go through life. We do care. Yeah, I was mostly joking. I just miss my workout routine and high metabolism. Yeah. I also like to not starve. Do you have one base type for your components, or one for components that extend node and one for components that extend node 2D? No, because the components, the way that the components are designed is that they're designed to be as modular as possible, which means that they ideally are not going to share code with anything else. So my components don't inherit anything custom. They obviously have to inherit either node or node 2D. And whether they inherit node or node 2D entirely depends on if I need there to be a transform on the component or not. But that's really the only consideration. Otherwise, there are always unique classes that don't extend from any other custom classes. What's a good place to find sound effects from? Sonus GDC Audio Bundle. I'm going to put it in the chat. It's like 150 gigs or something that you can download via a torrent. And they're all licensed appropriately. You can use them in unlimited commercial games and all that stuff. I mean, double check the license. Don't, don't take my word for it. But definitely check that out. Yeah, pin the GDC audio bundle in Discord. That's a good idea. But that's where I get all my sound effects. And if I can't find a sound effects in that audio, or a sound effect in that audio bundle that's good, sometimes I'll attempt to take multiple sound effects from that bundle and apply certain audio effects to them or layer them in certain ways. And if I still can't find a good sound effect, then I try to find one from freesound.org or OpenGameArt or something like that. Practice makes progress, yes indeed. Hello, Pedro. For small animations like enemy getting hit and flicking a bit, or enemy gets hit and slightly changes size, do you prefer to do it as code or animations? I think that largely depends on the style that you're going for. If you're doing a lot of frame-by-frame animations in your game, then it probably would be appropriate to also do a frame-by-frame animation for getting hit, in which case either an animated sprite 2D or an animation player would be appropriate. If you're using a lot of tweens in your game, then maybe tweens would be appropriate. But generally speaking, for Gunforged, all of those visual effects were largely driven by animation players. So yeah, I think it depends on what style you're going for, because all of those animation strategies give different, they give different visual effects, right? Frame-by-frame animation is going to look and feel different than a tween, and that's even going to look and feel different than a handcrafted, hand keyframed animation in an animation player, right? So I would say I like to use animation players a lot. I like to use tweens a lot. In Alka Mortis, I basically have very few animation players. Most of my animations are being driven with shaders and tweens. But yeah, all the tools available to you are good for doing that. It just depends on what you're after. Thank you for your sincere answer. You're welcome. And thank you for the 2000 W equals. I don't know what that I wish YouTube would tell me what that currency is. What they're expecting me as an American to know the world currencies. But thank you. I very much appreciate that. Thank you for the 2000 currency. Very much appreciated. It's very generous. Thank you. Thank you. South Korean won. Thank you. I appreciate that. I was thinking in terms of serialization. In order to make it more streamlined for writing and loading the components to disk, a base component class could be cleaner. Yeah, I could see that. If you had a base component class that exposed some kind of serialization capabilities, then yeah, that could work. Depends on, if you're doing it in GDScript, then yeah, you'd have to extend the class. But you could also implement serialization interfaces if you're using C#. So you wouldn't necessarily need to extend from a base class unless you needed to define some default functionality. But if you're just interested in having a serialize and deserialize, You could do that with interfaces as well. It depends on if you're going to have a bunch of like shared logic or whatever. There's lots of different strategies to do it, but you could have like a static class that handles the default serialization and deserialization on anything that's like iSerializable, iDeserializable, or I guess you wouldn't need both. You probably just have iSerializable. Anyway, there's a lot of ways to do it, but yeah, you could definitely do stuff like that. You're welcome, MF Biggs. Hello, Rin. Welcome back. Korean Won. Appreciate it. Yes, I'm using GDScript. Yeah, so yeah, extending from a base class that implements some serialize and deserialize would definitely be where to go. You gotta go. Have a good stream. Make sure the back buffer copy doesn't bug again. I'm trying. Thanks for joining Aliant and have a good day. Hello, Jackie Daytona. Welcome. Good to see you as always. Welcome, welcome. Always, we got 2 messages every day that I look forward to. Yummers, and it's time to game dev once again. And then, yeah. Anyway, Udo tweens animations and variation of program apps or only know on codes knowledge. I don't know precisely what you're trying to ask, Snupbill. Tweens animation and variation of programming apps. So tweens, the concept behind tweens is pretty universal because tweens are defined with easings and whatnot. And so there's like there's websites like this easings function cheat sheet, which it's just called easings.net. And this shows you like all the different easing functions. And these are basically the same functions that are available to you in the Godot tween system. But this website, I think, is mostly for CSS. So like the CSS animations use these kinds of tween curves for animations, but these are pretty universal. Like anytime you're going to tween animate something, the curves that are going to be available to you are largely going to be these. So yeah, the concept of a tween and animating something along a curve is a pretty universal concept, but each implementation of that concept is going to be slightly different, whether you're using GDScript or CSS or whatever, but it's broadly the same, yeah. You're welcome, Scott. You're welcome, you're welcome. It's pretty universal, yeah. All right, we need to write a new shader. We need to write a new shader. Fade highlight material, new shader material. Shader, we're going to create a new card mask fade highlight .gd shader. Oh, what am I doing? New shader. It's not a built-in shader. Card mask fade highlight. Let's just do empty. Okay, create. Okay, so I need to take, let's close that, close this, close this, close this, close this. We're going to copy this basically, but we're also going to need to borrow these things here. So we're going to grab those 3 uniforms. We are also going to basically just grab mask mix down here. Grab these. This little, one of the problems with this is when I'm streaming, I increase the editor scale. So I have a lot less room on my screen than I'm used to doing. But this is so that all of you can see what's going on. Unknown identifier, screen color. Card mask fade. Screen color, screen texture, screen UV. And we'll rename this. Okay. Card mask fade highlight. Cool, cool, cool. So now we've got this in here. We want this resource to be local to scene. Mask texture, let's just go ahead and put in 1x2 mask. We'll go ahead and load the border mask as well. Okay, let me turn this progress. Oh wait, that's not going to do anything. So we've got the material now on that card. Now we're going to need to do some swapping. So I'm going to rename this to Shader Tween. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to do public void fade highlight. Shader tween, kill if valid. We're going to tween the fade highlight material, and we're going to do to 1F. Let's see. Fade highlight. Play fade highlight. This is over 0.25F. Okay. From 0. So I'm going to set the dimmer rect. I'm going to rename this as well. We'll call it the shader rect instead. I'm going to rename this default shader material. Okay. So when we fade in, we need to set the, fade highlight. Shader rect dot material is equal to fade highlight material. And then in here, shader rect dot material is equal to default shader material. Shader rect dot material is equal to default shader material. We're going to need to set this shader parameter in the fade in as well, just to make sure. Actually, okay, I'm going to need to do another export variable here. This is a little bit cumbersome, but that's all right. Private texture 2D, border mask placeholder texture. So dim in, we want to do border mask placeholder texture. Dim out, border mask placeholder texture. Set the shader parameter there. Set the shader parameter there. Fade highlight, we also want to do the same thing. Okay. Okay, so let's build this. Have you had to remake or write any Godot system that weren't working for your game? No, I haven't done anything to directly change any Godot system. I'm not the kind of person that has the capability to modify the engine, if that's what you're asking. So I kind of treat Godot as one of my constraints. You know, like I've talked about this before, but like, you know, having constraints during a creative process is often a great way to improve your creative output by just giving yourself hard rules. So for example, one of my constraints is that every pixel that ends up being rendered to the screen has to be one of the 8 colors in my palette. So that kind of precludes me from using any sort of transparency, because transparent pixels will mix with the pixels behind them and create a different color than what's in my palette. Well, I do the same thing with my tooling. I say I'm using the Godot engine. I'm not going to change anything about the engine. And so if I ever encounter a situation that's a little bit weird or that's hard to work with, I treat that as a constraint that I need to find a workaround for or find a different approach for. Not the exact answer I asked, but interesting stuff, honestly. Okay, good. I don't know what's happening. What's happened only for the last day or so, and only your stream keeps going up and down in quality or freezing. It's a little bit better today than yesterday. Interesting. I don't think that's on my end. Can anyone else? Does anyone else have any issues with the quality changing? I don't think it's on my end. I'm at a constant 10 megabits upload speed, and I'm on a wired gigabit upload and download connection. But it could be a problem with my configurations. I just want to make an animation more easy with tweening, which I don't think Asprite does have any with, unless it's a plugin. Oh yeah, I see what you mean. Yeah, I'm not aware of that. I don't know of any tools that make tweening easier when you're doing like the art stage of it. That would definitely be helpful. When looking at your skeleton card of the editor, the enchanted effect on the border looks very wavy and high quality, but in game it's pixelated. Is this happening because of the lower resolution? Yeah. So this effect will basically get crunched down into pixels. And so it looks smooth here because the editor is not low resolution. I wish I could make it that way. It would be really nice to have this editor window render with the same like pixel resolution and density as the game, so I could see what the visual effects look like. I wonder if that's actually possible. Maybe that is possible. I don't even know where I would find such a thing. But yeah, it would be nice to do like to change the stretch mode of this editor preview. But anyway, yeah, this all gets crunched down into pixels. I have not seen that. Not really. Stream is fine all the time for me. Okay. But now it feels quite sloppy and slow. What does? Yappers? Personally, I never use grid map when making a tile game. I always roll with my own thing. Only since 1440p edition. You haven't seen that? Stream's fine for you? Godot 4.5 only has tile map layers now. Shader magic for low res. My original message got deleted for some reason, but I'll ask in Discord, probably better there. Okay. Were you trying to share a link? YouTube will just like silently block or delete your message if you have a link inside of it. Got my coffee? Well, second half of the pot. Nice. Welcome, Defected. Good morning to you as well. Good morning to you as well. Okay, I think we're ready to test this. Well, actually, we're not. So what I think I want to do is... I'm going to do something here. This fade highlight, I actually need to change this. Shader tween callback. I'm going to create some helper functions in here now as well. Let's just do private void enable back buffer copy.visible equals true. Private void disable back buffer. Check this out. Tween. I created an extension method for tweens. Tween action. Enable back buffer. Disable back buffer. This one is disable back buffer. Enable back buffer there. Disable back buffer. Shader tween. Enable back buffer. So we dim in, then we dim out and disable it. We fade out, enable back buffer. We fade in, we disable it after. Fade highlight, we enable. We do the animation, then we disable it again. Okay, I think that will work. I don't know, let's see. I need a healing item. What heals? Lambone ring. Do I already have that in here? Test player cards. I do. We can also test the enchantment. Hello, Edo Makes Games. Welcome back. Good to see you. Actually, testing the enchantment would work a little bit easier. So when I use this enchant, I should see the card also highlight. That didn't work. Cool, cool, cool. I wonder if that's a problem with the enchant container. Board. Oh, I never actually iterated over the cards. Card node dot fade highlight. That would explain that. School started today, so I have less time to do game dev. It's going to be hard. That dang school. That dang school. How many items you got so far? That's a good question. I think I have roughly 60 cards. So that's between the player cards and the enemy cards. And then what do I have in terms of artifacts? However many this is. Actually, I should just be able to open this in the file manager. So I've got 18 artifacts, 60 some cards. Actually, we could probably just look at it here. Wait, there's 120 cards? Oh, right. I've got like 60 cards per faction. So there's 120 cards in the game. I lied to you. I'm sorry. There's 120 cards in the game. I want to end up roughly around 300 or 400 cards in the game when the game is finished. So we're not even halfway there. But thankfully, cards do not take that long to make. If a card ability implementation goes well and the art goes well, I can get a card done in like a half an hour. So, yeah. Making documentation will not be fun. Did you ever redraw the frog? No, that is the frog is in my sights though. The frog is in my sights. I may actually end up changing the perspective of the frog because it's hard to draw a frog when it's like vertical because the frog uses this 1x2 here. I may just try to do like a 2x1 instead and do like a more horizontal frog, but we'll see. Pants on fire, yeah. How does the card grid system work? So the visuals are separated from the data. There is a board inventory component that manages what the board size is and what cells are available. And then whenever I put a card on the board at a position, I just log inside of that inventory. I say this card is at this vector 2 position. And then I have a series of signals that are emitted whenever the board inventory changes. And those are listened to by the card so that it can position and snap itself to the proper visual location. So it's all data. All of the grid stuff is data under the hood. It emits signals when that data changes, and then the proper things listen for those data changes to reposition the visuals on the board. How many artifacts are you aiming for? I'd love to get to around 50. Don't you have a tool for that? I mean, counting cards by faction? I do. Card statistics tool. Total enemy cards 51, total player cards 64. Wait, where's the 120 number coming from? That's only 115. Oh. Where's the 120 number coming from? Oh, well, I have a God mode. Maybe it's excluding some of these. That might be worth investigating. There's 120 card resources in here, but there's only 115. What are the 5 cards that are not being included here? I might have to investigate that a little bit. Maybe I'll make a note. Hello, cat. I'll make a note about that. Investigate discrepancy between 120 card resources in file system and 115 recognized by card statistics tool. I just want to make sure that my system is not ignoring cards that it should be including. So we'll see. The frog is in my sight, sir. Take the shot. Yeah. Don't dev until you see the whites of its eyes. Are you planning on adding modding tools to your game? So the answer is no, and the reason is I have no idea how to do that. And I'm mostly focused on this highlighting is still not working. The highlighting is not working still. Let me try this. Two seconds dot timeout plus equals play highlight. We're just going to try this with the standard card here. Let me see if I can get this to play in here. We got an error. Object reference not set to an instance of object. Default shader material. Oh, wait a minute. Fade highlight material. Maybe that was the problem. Now I gotta figure out why this is not working. Fade highlight material. Why is this not... Object reference not set to an instance of object. Cat, can you just, like, not be meowing right now? What is your deal? You have food. What is the problem here? Oh, I don't have a base card assigned. I see. Let's just remove this line then. That's weird. Gotta love how a random question exposes a bug. Oh, there, it faded. Did you see it? It highlighted, so it's working. Hello, Stove. Joining for the first time. Graphic style looks great. Love seeing a real workflow. Awesome. Yeah, welcome to the stream. Great to have you here. You will soon discover that this chat is very wholesome. Features take time, so maybe modding will come if Alchemortis makes a bank. Yeah, it could. Minecraft didn't add modding support either. Now look at them. Yeah, I mean, I would love to have the problem where my game is so popular that people are just going rabid for mod support. That would be a good problem to have. But it doesn't make sense to build the game with modding support in mind from the beginning, because I honestly don't know how this game is going to perform, and that would just be a huge lift, huge effort. Hello, Sanzo. Welcome back. Good to see you. Good morning to you. I am a people, so good morning to you as well. Just give me the answer to your question. Secretly a dev cat. Firebelly, would I need a state machine for turn-based combat simple RPG battler thingy? State machine for turn-based combat. I think you will so do you need a state machine? No. The answer is probably you don't need one. The question is, would a state machine make your system easier to understand and easier to manage? Probably. So, but here's the thing. My game is kind of turn-based, right? But the turn-based system doesn't use a state machine. What it does use is it uses an orchestrator that coordinates the execution of all the cards in order and all of the boards in order. So it will go to the player board first. It will tick all of the turns. For any card that gets to a turn counter of 0, it will execute that, and it all happens in order. But that's orchestrated by like a third-party node that sits above everything and calls everything in a top-down fashion. So yeah, I mean, a state machine could help. It just depends on like what your implementation looks like. Because I could see a turn-based combat RPG battler using the same strategy that I'm using, where you've got like an orchestrator that manages everything. But even in that case, the orchestrator might have its own state machine. So you need a state machine for anything. Everything in your game should be a state machine. Okay, let's see if this works. Okay, that fade highlight worked, and I'm just going to make sure that the healing works as well. It doesn't. So is it just the healing effect that's not working? I honestly don't know where that's being triggered. So on heal, the board is highlighting, but I don't know where that is. Where is that? This is only used in enchant container. What? Board combat component. Oh, here we go. Okay, this is calling the fade group component directly, that's why. So we get rid of that. I don't want that anymore. Do I have a reference to the board? Owner board, yeah. So this should be owner board, play fade highlight. Why is this in the combat component? These are visual effects. I should rework this. Well, we won't worry about that just yet. This should not be driving visual effects in here. This should be happening in response. So maybe I can fix it. Let's see. So the board, we've got the health component here. Health changed event handler. So we've got this health changed signal. This returns a health state. Max health, previous health, current health. We could do something like is heal. Previous health is less than current health. Oh wait, I don't put that here. I put that here. Overheal, what is this? Do I use this anywhere? I guess that's just some useless data, but that's okay, we can leave it there. It's not harming anything. So now we're gonna get rid of this owner board play fade highlight. We're gonna get rid of this. We're gonna get rid of this. This board combat component should not be driving any visual effects because this is just data. So we're going to go to the board instead and we're going to connect to that health component. Dot health changed plus equals on health changed. And we'll drive that down here. If health state is heal, play fade highlight. Okay, let's see if that works. Sometimes you create a state machine skeleton and you don't even realize this. Also, hello back, finished with work. Welcome back. You could also do hierarchical state machine inside state machines. Yeah, you could do that for sure. Might as well state machine my state machine so my states have machines while being machined. In my case, I have a game loop class that runs every system in sequence. However, I do have separate state machines on my nodes to handle visual states more cleanly. Isn't Rage Against the State Machine a band? State Machine Gun Kelly. I actually also create turn-based game, and I was sure that I won't need state machines, but later realized if I break down a lot of code, I actually have them everywhere, just not in classic convention. Right, yeah. If you've got a series of if-else statements and a bunch of flags, then yeah, you have a state machine. I mean, technically speaking, a computer program is a giant state machine. So you literally cannot escape. Refactored a lot of the code. Overheal, that sounds fun, like a barrier. Yeah, I think I was planning on doing something with overheal, but I just haven't got there yet. Trying to focus on going forward instead of endless refactors. Yeah, that's the tension, right? Now it's not healing at all. What the heck? Now it's not. Oh, because, right. Because I'm full health. If I take damage, now it works. It's just if I'm at full health, it doesn't do anything. So, I mean, there's an easy way to fix this. Previous health is less than or equal to current health. But that may actually not... Because if I subtract... Oh, So maybe this is not the appropriate way to do it. This is probably not the appropriate way to do it. I'm going to do something a little bit hacky here just to get this working. Received heal equals true. Received heal equals false. Look at that. I'm a genius. I'm a genius. Health state dot is heal equals received heal. Okay, that should do it. So anytime I call heal or heal to full, it will log that that's receiving a healing, and then it will just put that in the health state there. So this property here, this has a getter and a setter. So anytime this property changes, it will collect a bunch of data and emit a health change signal. And I'm just going to hack this together by just wrapping this in a... Set it to true, then reset it to false. That should work. That should work. There's also so many ways to create one. I consider organized if statements to be one as well. Yeah, you might not have a classic abstraction, but you certainly do have state management. Right. That is 100% true. I'm just going to make sure the dimming also works here. Uh-oh. Now it's broken. So the dimming is broken now. Oh, that's fun. Well, we can solve that after I get this healing working. Okay, well, something's wrong. Something is wrong. Shoot, I knew this was going to be a little bit hairy here. Oh, yeah. Okay, we'll figure it out. But it is highlighting there, so that's good. Now I gotta figure out why the dimming is not working. I broke that again. I don't want to play whack-a-mole, I just want to get this to work. Oh, it's probably because I never set this material here as well. Okay, let's try that. Why is it flashing? Oh, I still have the, oops. I still have this test line in here. Get rid of that. Disable back buffer. All right. I think this should work now. Let's see. Yeah, the reason why it was bugged is because it had that test line in there, so it was swapping out the material. But I did find an issue with the code, so that's good. So I just want to try a bunch of different combinations here, which will continually swap out that material under the hood, and just make sure that everything is working as expected. Okay, I think it's working. And everything fades out and fades in. Get rid of that. Put this on the board. Cool. I think it's all working now. Do you guys like this art here for the rewards? The pile of gold. Can I get a wave function collapse to work in a state machine? I'm sure you could. If you think about it, being alive is also a state machine. Guys, my computer sounds like a microwave. That doesn't sound good. Being dead is a state also. Being dead is a good brand. Can your computer cook an omelet? If not, what are you doing with your life? Not often, but just went to Mac's for a cheeseburger and fries. Sure, you'll do similar. Dang it. I've been propagandized. I've been propagandized. Mine can cook 2 freezer burritos. Okay, alright. Every time I see the cultist, I think of the line from Tommy Boy, brothers got a hug. Wave function collapse. Okay. I think I have the fading stuff nailed down. Okay, we've got a bunch of bugs here. We got a bunch of bugs. We've got a bunch of bugs, but I think this is fine. But I think that is broadly improved, so we're good to go there. I'm not aging. Oh, what? I'm not seeing. Oh, seeing 90% of these comments. Did I get shadow banned? I don't know. YouTube is buggy. It's either wave function collapse or McDonald's, but we will gently bully you. Yeah. Probably more like 20%, but 90 is far more dramatic. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it's possible that because like the messages will oftentimes come into my social stream, which is what I use to highlight your comments here. But then like YouTube will delete them a couple of seconds later, but they stay logged in my social stream. And that's the only chat that I look at. So could be that case, or maybe there's just an issue on your end for whatever reason. Use live chat. This is live chat. Switch top chat to live chat. I might have to change that in my social stream. I have sent messages that never appear, not often though. Okay, tell you what, I'm going to take a quick 3-minute break. I'll set it to live chat in my social stream as well, although I think I do that every time. But let me check it. It's per user. There's top messages and all messages. The top is the default for some weird reason. So give me a quick 3-minute break. I will check that while I'm on my break. and I'll also will come back and probably should figure out some other these bugs. I've got a lot of bugs tracking in here. So yeah, one bug that's annoying is the setting and toggle tooltips button, so we'll probably fix that. Maybe we'll fix the reagents can be upgraded at the card upgrade. Yeah. So anyway, we'll take a look at these. I'll be right back in just a second, and we will continue on. All right, 1 second. All right, I'm back. It's on the user end. It's a user setting. I switched it. We shall see. Yeah, I think that the top chat is kind of weird. I mean, I guess top chat makes sense if you're a larger streamer, and let's say you've got like several hundred chatters. Top chat may create a better experience in that kind of situation. But certainly for, you know, the amount of people that we have in here, live chat is definitely preferable. I will also say that I get hit with subscriber mode every time I come into. I have to weasel my way in through the learn more link. Yeah, that is weird. That is weird. Thank you, bomb that explodes. All right, let's prevent reagents from being upgraded at the card upgrade. Well, you know, here's the thing. No, let's just disable it for now. I was going to say we could allow that, but upgrade card event state machine, upgrade, create card upgrade container. So we should have some validators in here. Here on invalid clicked. So we do need to add a validator. Click validate, add clickable validator is valid. Where is this being set? So cards.length equals 1 and cards.tier and cards.length equals 1 and cards 0. Actually, this doesn't need to be here. Cards 0 is legendary. I'm pretty sure by default C# does short circuit evaluation of statements like this. So if this first condition fails, then it will just set this to false immediately. It won't evaluate the rest of these. So I'm pretty sure that's going to work. So I could say cards 0 dot has flag, card definition resource dot has flag dot card tags dot has flag card tag dot reagent, and this should be not. Okay, so there's the validator there. That's correct with evaluation. Always compare the cheapest first. That's what I figured. Yeah, that's what I figured. I switched to live chat and the pausing and quality issues seem to have gone. YouTube is buggy as hell. Wow. Hello. Welcome back. What are we doing today? We're just fixing some bugs, mostly a bug fixing stream. I would like to do something more fun, but we'll see if we have time for that. Omelets, freezer burritos, cheeseburgers. Yeah. Have you guys seen that like meme video where it's the scene from Dune where there's like a dude chanting, getting all the warriors prepared, but they dubbed it over with like hamburger, cheeseburger, Big Mac, Whopper. It's so funny. I just saw that again yesterday. It's like makes me crack up every time. Anyway, if you don't know what I'm talking about, look up Dune hamburger or something. Dune hamburger chant. Anyway, validate. So then we need a message. If cards.length equals 0, only one card can be upgraded. Else, if cards 0 dot card definition resource tags has flag card tag reagent. Reagent cards cannot be upgraded. We'll just do cards 0 is legendary. Okay. So I think that will work. Let's just go ahead. I think I already have a reagent in my board, so we'll try that. Hamburgers are def viable chance. Send it to us later on the Firebelly's Discord memes channel. I should do that. I should do that. That could be the official chant of this stream. The battle chant. Hamburger, cheeseburger, Big Mac, Whopper. I need to find a card upgrade. No card upgrades? There we go. So we'll just make sure this works. So this is a reagent here. Reagent cards cannot be upgraded. Okay, I'm pretty sure that works. Oh, I got a lot of debugger errors. Why is that there? Huh. I don't know why that happened. Let me just see if those errors pop back up. That's kind of concerning. That's kind of concerning. I'm a little bit too quick on the regeneration button. There we go. Well, those errors have not reappeared, so we will just ignore those. Okay. Fix reagents can be upgraded. I like these small bugs because it makes me feel very productive. This one is going to be a nightmare. Setting and toggle tooltips button disappears behind combat background. So these buttons here, I can see the Harkonnens open in a chain franchise on Arrakis. Yeah, they should. The question is, can chat say that chant in order one at a time without messing up? It's gonna be like herding cats, but I suppose it's possible. Chat is all about chaos, yeah. Doing some Doug challenges now. Okay, so these buttons here, the toggle tooltips and the settings here, these are just buttons. Again, I want to make the whole game playable without like using the keyboard. There are keyboard hotkeys in place. So like if you hit tab, that will bring up the inventory. I need to add a hotkey for alchemy as well. And then you could use WASD or arrow keys to pan the camera and space to recenter. That reminds me, I don't have a recenter button, but I want the game to be playable entirely with a mouse. So you could just like sit back and just do everything you want to do with the mouse. Oh, so I do need a recenter key. I'm not going to put that in this to-do list though, but I am going to do add recenter, add clickable recenter camera button to map. That is something that I'm missing right now. Settings and toggle. Okay, so yeah. So we've got these buttons here, but as soon as I go into an event, those buttons disappear because they're being covered. So it's another canvas layer issue. So if I go to my run manager here, we've got these buttons here. So this is the button canvas layer. And so yeah, the problem really is that this event camera has a layer of 10 and these buttons have a layer of 9. But I can't just change the button layer to like 11 because then it will render over top of the alchemy board. So you can see that the buttons are here, that's fine, they're good, but then I do this and they're still there. So I probably need to move these buttons elsewhere. Now let me make sure that these... Okay, so these actually don't reference anything. So this doesn't necessarily need to be its own layer. So I'm going to make this the scene root here. I'm going to delete the canvas layer. Call this buttons. We're going to add the script back here. Load that. This is a margin container now. And we also want to make sure that this is set to ignore if it's not already. Okay, it is set to ignore. Cool, cool, cool. This one should be set to ignore as well. It's not. Let's make that ignore as well. Okay. Very cool, very cool. So now in the game UI, I'm thinking... Actually, where do I need to put this? In my run manager. I wonder if I could just put this... Oh, this is going to be a nightmare, actually. This is going to be a nightmare. Because I think what will happen is those buttons looks good there, but then when I open this, they get dimmed. So they actually need to be... So this dimmer rect here, they need to render above this dimmer rect. They need to render above the dimmer rect, but before the alchemy drawer. But since this is a drawer UI, I don't necessarily want to put the buttons in here. But I may have to. I don't think... I'll delete it from there, put it in the drawer UI, buttons, and we put that there. So now that renders over top correctly. And if I go into an event, those should still exist there. So I don't think that's the proper place for them semantically, but it certainly is the proper place for them in terms of the rendering order. So I'll just say whatever. It can be a mess. I don't care. Alchemortis is going to be a buggy mess when it releases. No, it's not. I actually like to, when I'm developing games, I like to stay on top of the bugs. Because, you know, sometimes a bug is something that's very easily fixable. It's not, you know, you could do it at any point during development. But then sometimes a bug will actually inform you that there's something deeper wrong with your system. And so by staying on top of bugs, I can also kind of stay on top of whether there are fundamental aspects of my systems that needed to change. Plus, you know, I think it's just good for the experience, right? When I'm playtesting the game and the game is bug-free, that feels very good. So anyway, move buttons rendering order. Okay. The following files are newer on disk. Reload from disk. Did I do something wrong? Oops. Time to activate chat goblin mode. So gotta start acting like other chats and type W every time Virebelly fixes a bug, or just randomly bug fix W. Bug free code, never heard of her. Yeah. We could all hope, right? We can all speak in ideal terms. Okay, one thing that I want to do as well, that I'm gonna do while I'm thinking of it, is if I go to the alchemy drawer here, resize, alchemy container, resize boards and place cards. I want to change this so that it has a minimum dimensions. New vector 2i, 2, 2. And the reason why I'm doing that is because the board doesn't look great when it's super small. So what I'm going to do is, like, if I put the lambone ring in with this amber, it will put out a 2x2 board so that the borders look really nice. Because if it was a 1x1 board, it would look really weird, but... Oh. Something broke. Tween started with no tweeners. Oh, await award residue. Ah, if there are no cards on the board, then it's trying to start a tween, so it just broke. So we'll do if cards on board dot length equals 0 return, and then we'll create the tween after that. So this tween was supposed to drive the animation of alchemical residue to the currency, but if there's no cards on the board, after you take the card, then it was breaking. So we'll fix that. I should probably just log that as a bug so I can mark it as done. If a single card is an alchemy output, taking it breaks the alchemy functionality, I guess. Okay, we can mark those as done. Let me just verify that this is fixed. So I take this, I move it over. There's no alchemical residue from that operation because there's no other output cards. Then I can do this, and we'll just make sure this still works as well. Cool. All right. Done. Okay, that button one was actually a lot easier than I thought it was going to be. If enchant node offers 2 enchants via map node effect, skip button will disappear after first enchant applied. Let's fix that one. We're going to fix that one, and what I'm going to do for that is I'm going to do, well, let me just take a look at the enchant container here. Emit signal tentacle clicked. So I probably don't want... I think what's happening is when that tentacle gets clicked here, it's going to play out that skip event button. So signal, public, delegate, void. I'm going to call this uses consumed event handler instead. Do I need this dot tentacle clicked anywhere? No, I don't. So I'm actually going to remove this signal. We're going to change this. If uses remain equals 0, emit signal uses consumed. The skip event button here, we're going to change this to uses consumed on uses consumed. So we only want to hide the skip event button if you use all of your enchants. I think that's basically what we want to do. And what I'll do actually is I will just artificially set this. I will set this to +1 here, and we'll try that out. If we're going to be acting like other chats, then I should be saying meow every 5 to 10 minutes. Oh, goodness. Today I learned making an interesting incremental game can be hard. I think making interesting games in general is hard, but yeah, incremental games sound difficult as well. Is it just me or the stream missing a yummers? Started the incremental game but got distracted. It's still in the pipeline though. Hello, thank you for the Canadian 279. I very much appreciate that, Evan. That's very generous. Thank you, thank you. Always appreciated it. Always appreciate it. And glad to have you here as always. Thank you again. It's very generous. That's a toonie. That reminds me of another video, the McDonald's rap from years ago. Anyone know Go Remy? McDonald's rap? Okay, so if I put the candle in here and I do 10% blind, I can still skip. Oh, I could remove that and skip, or I could do another one. And that gets played out. Very nice. Let's see if the skip works after the first use. Skip. So I could skip that, put this on here, increase critical chance. Skip. Good. Okay. So we can get rid of this uses +1. So that is fixed. Yeah, that is fixed. Okay. I will probably want to improve that general flow with the multiple enchants, but I think it's probably okay. It's probably okay for now, so we can mark that bug as done. Track down orphan nodes. If Obelisk reveals a node while simultaneously map nodes are hidden by Inquisition Blessing negative ability, then the camera pans to Fog of War. Okay. Gold is never freed when it's transmuted. Probably should fix that one. I think this is actually relatively easy to fix. So the problem in here is that the input cards are being changed. Oh wait, maybe... Where's the input cards? Alchemy input config. Oh, so this is actually creating a new array. So maybe it's actually not a problem. Let me, I think I misread this. So this is creating a new array here for the input cards, but then all of the original input cards are being freed up here. But just to verify, I'm going to do gd.print freeing input card ID. Okay, let's go ahead and add some gold in here. I think this actually works. I think we're honing in on Firebelly's musical taste. Making games hard, more features, more problems, yeah. If we're being ourselves, then I should be meowing, but I don't meow here since this is when I work on my game. Yeah, I would say I would make a polite request to please not meow in the chat. I've got enough meowing happening from my real cats. It's about hamburgers, I can get into it. Can you make a one-feature game interesting aside from Pong? Pong is not interesting. The premise, yeah, Pong is not interesting. Pong is the worst game of all time. The only one anyone liked, the only reason anyone likes it is because it was like the first video game, but it's garbage. Sorry, that's just the way it is. You're gonna tell me that Arc Raiders is not better than Pong? Get out of here. Anyway. But yeah, can you make a one-feature game interesting? I think, I mean, it depends, like, yeah, it's kind of, I guess it would revolve around like a definitional issue. What do you consider one feature, you know? Is, for example, Baba Is You, is that a one feature game? Right? Because like there is one core mechanic, right? But then there's all the ways in which that mechanic can be interacted with. I would say that, yeah, it depends on how you define one feature, but if you're saying like one core mechanic, I think like let's think about a classic board game, right? Like Scrabble. Scrabble is a one feature game, right? You just like have to build words with the tiles that you get. It's like a one mechanic game basically. But so yeah, I think it depends on how you define it, but if you're saying like there's one core mechanic or one core feature and that's what the entire game hinges around, then I think it's possible for sure. Don't worry, I won't meow here. My cat says meow in response to you saying not to. Pong is not interesting. Have you played Ball X Pit? Well, Pong is a specific game, right? Ball X Pit is different. He's right, you know, yeah. Shots fired, Pong is the GOAT. Thank you, Jack Daytona, for the $5. Very much appreciate that. Here's to your McDonald's fund and hours of free streams. Thank you, I appreciate that. You guys are very generous. But yeah, thank you, Jackie Daytona. Very much appreciated. Pong walked so Arc Raiders could crawl, yeah. I would agree that it's trash, but it has a purpose. No, I mean, it's like, you know, being the first video game is, you know, obviously important. And obviously video games had to start somewhere, but just from like a gameplay standard, it's like that game would not hold my attention for any amount of time. Because it you know, the problem with Pong is it doesn't have microtransactions and always online connectivity, and it doesn't have a friends list and all that stuff, and no achievements. So it's like, you know. Okay. Freed gold, spiderling, cannibal. Okay, so actually this is not a bug. This is working as intended. So I'm just going to delete this because that's not actually a bug. Pong is not great. It was just the only one. Right, yeah. Is Tetris one feature? Interesting question. Yeah, I would say so. Baba is crazy hard. Still need to play that game, Baba Is You. Such a killer idea for a puzzle game. Yeah, I'm not a fan of puzzles, so I've actually never played that myself, but it's certainly like one of the most unique games to come out in recent years. Solitaire Mystery. Hello, Budget Jim. Welcome to the stream. You're adding features to my one feature game, yeah. Thoughts on the EU laws coming out? I don't really pay attention to what's happening in the EU, I'm sorry. So I have no idea what's happening. Hello, Yito. Welcome back. How's dev life going? It's going well. I think Alchemortis is getting better and better by the day. And that makes it really fun to work on. But I'm sure I'll hit another couple of snags down the road here soon. Do I want to look at orphan nodes? If an obelisk reveals a node, this is going to be a weird one. This one's going to be a hard one to test. We might as well try it. We might as well try to fix this one. All right, so let's go to my seeded run. We'll look for trigger nodes. We're going to generate a bunch of trigger nodes. Trigger configuration. We want the hide revealed. We'll just do this. Okay. And then we need some obelisks. So the issue is that if a trigger node, so like there are nodes in the game that they have a hidden functionality, which is that if you step on them, the Inquisition will bless some nodes in the area, and the blessing adds a positive effect to the node and a negative effect to the node, which makes map traversal a little bit more interesting. But one of the negative effects is that all of the nodes that you visited will be hidden behind the fog of war again. Not the nodes you visited, all the nodes that you've discovered that are outside of your visibility radius currently will be hidden. But then the obelisk is supposed to reveal nodes that you may not be able to see. And so what can happen is that the blessing effect hides the node back into the fog of war, and then the obelisk causes the camera to pan over to a fog of war, which is not appropriate. So I think maybe it's an order of operations issue. I think the obelisk needs to reveal nodes after the nodes are hidden by that negative effect. But like I said, this is going to be a tough one to fix. And I can't go to this obelisk that's like right at the beginning here sometimes, because the trigger nodes do not they do not affect the first starting nodes. So I mean, maybe I can go this way first. We'll see. Pong isn't even the first video game. That would be tennis for 2. Pong was just the first commercially successful video game. Gotcha, yeah. That makes sense. My game is more like old retro games where it's being an endurance test rather than being about having fun. Well, I think endurance tests can be fun too. Like Dark Souls is both an endurance test and very fun. Dark Souls mentioned. What am I doing? Obelisk 13. This should actually be easier. Let's see what happens. They're trying to remove predatory monetization in games. Yeah, I mean, I understand the impulse there, I guess. The problem is, like, if people are free to spend their money, they're going to spend their money in stupid ways. And it's like, what do you define as predatory? If you, like, can't help yourself from buying a Coca-Cola 12 pack every time you go to the grocery store because it's so sugary and so addicting. Is that predatory? Maybe. I don't know. It's like, what is predatory? Like, people are just going to spend their money in stupid ways no matter what you do. And it's like, at some point, you can't do anything about that, you know? You're not going to be able to legislate away all of the stupid ways in which people can spend and make money. Come on. The Inquisition blesses some locations. Okay. So let's see if I can reproduce this. If I go here and I do transforms 2 nearby nodes into enchant nodes, that's going to hide all the nodes in the Fog of War. Yeah, so this is going to be a nightmare to reproduce, but I think it's as simple as... I don't know how to fix this. I don't even know how to test this. Cautious optimism, or as I like to call it, pessimistic optimism. Also, retro games make me feel old. I feel retro. EU citizen here. New EU gaming laws focus on consumer protection, especially for minors, targeting loot boxes, microtransactions, and addictive design, like infinite scroll autoplay, demanding transparency in pricing and costs, and preventing remote disabling. I mean, I understand protecting minors as well, but like, I like loot boxes. I guess you can get out your pitchforks, but like when I played Overwatch, I enjoyed the loot boxes. It was kind of fun to see what I would get, but I also wasn't spending massive amounts of money. I would spend like $5 every couple weeks to like pull a couple loot boxes, you know? And I guess loot boxes aren't necessary, but like, I mean, I just like gambling too. I'm sorry to say. I like going to Las Vegas, but I can be responsible with my money too. Like I don't, like when I go to Las Vegas, I'm very responsible with the amount of money I spend. You know what I mean? So it's just like, I don't know. I understand protecting people. I understand that impulse, but at the same time, like, what if I enjoy gambling? You're going to remove that experience that I can have from me to protect other people. Maybe that's the noble thing to do, but I like gambling. I want to go to Vegas. I want to spend a bunch of money. I want to play blackjack and lose all my money to the casino, which is billions of dollars of wealth, you know? My favorite, I mean, again, it's EU. It's up to the EU. I have no dog in the fight. Whatever the EU people want is what they should get. My favorite niche game, Dark Souls, yeah. I would disagree to the endurance fun for retro game. Spoken like a true libertarian. Missile Command is still a banger. I hate Dark Souls. I don't understand how somebody enjoys it. It's very repetitive and unjustly harsh. Fair point for Dark Souls. You light the nodes on fire? Yeah. The difference is that you don't have to convert your money to Coke bucks that never fit the price of a 6-pack, so you always waste money or have something left. Oh, I see. Yeah. Yeah, I got you. Yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense. Yeah, I guess that is a dark pattern that you have. You can only buy certain increments of the currency rather than just like directly buying the things. I think I would definitely prefer that. Like if you just threw $1 price tag on a skin in the game, like this is, you know, $4.99 or whatever, I would much prefer that system than having to collect all these like, you know, microtransaction currencies. That would definitely be an improvement. You don't know Roblox, you don't know how bad it is? Yeah, that's true, I don't know the Roblox. I like to earn them, not buy them. Dang it. Yeah, if you guys end up buying Alchemortis and make it super successful, I'm gonna become bankrupt because I'm taking it all to Las Vegas. I'm gonna put 100 grand on a single blackjack hand and it'll be make or break. Minors love spending cash. Yeah, I think, yeah, restricting minors is definitely a good idea. Where are they even getting their money? When I was a kid, I didn't have any money. When I was like 16, 17, I didn't have any money to gamble away. If you go to Vegas again, I have a few restaurants to recommend. Live there for a few years. Okay, awesome. Yeah, I would love to go again. It's just, yeah, I don't have any money to go to Vegas right now, so it's not happening anytime soon. I'm a gambling man. I do it anytime the stakes are low enough, but it seems some people are just wired to not be able to handle any amount of gambling. Yeah, and that's true across a number of things, right? Like there's people that can't handle alcohol. There's people that can't handle other, substances that you can imbibe. And then there's people that can handle those things and can moderate themselves. And it's like, yeah, I think that's just going to be a perennial problem no matter what we're talking about. You put $1 into the slot machine, but it only costs 80 cents to play. What happens to that 20 cents? Well, you put more in so you don't waste it, right? Well, casinos especially obviously make a lot of use of the sunk cost fallacy for sure. I love Souls-likes. Yeah, me too. Me too. Actually, Sekiro is my favorite Souls-like. I like Sekiro more than I like the Dark Souls games, I think. Also, Lies of P is fantastic as well. Dark Souls is peak. They just use their parents' credit cards without permission to use the credit card. That's where minors getting their money from. I'm sure that's some of it, yeah. I think part of it is games being rated for kids and teens shouldn't also have gambling elements. Yeah, I think I agree with that for sure. Like if we're gonna draw a line somewhere, then drawing the line at you have to be an adult to engage with these mechanics, that makes sense to me for sure. At a minimum, that makes sense to me. Whether more should be done about that, obviously that's up to each country/countries of what they want to do about it. I like Souls-like deck builder. Is there such thing as a Souls-like deck builder? Somebody get on that. Sekiro is one of the tightest games ever made, just such a distilled experience. It is, it really is. Parents frequently buy their kids Robux for cosmetics, very frequent. I have a little brother, he has spent so much of my money on the most useless stuff. Oh wow, yeah. That definitely seems like a problem. Demon's Souls is my heart's favorite Souls game, and Bloodborne is my brain's favorite. Sekiro is awesome. Did you play the remaster of Demon's Souls? There was a point in time where I almost bought a PS5 just so I could play the remastered Demon's Souls, but I never did it because guess what? They were out of stock everywhere when I was ready to buy one. Are you going to somehow enforce that regulation? I mean, yeah. I mean, there's enforcement mechanisms for sure. I can estimate around 30-second interval for each microtransaction pop-up. I actually dropped Sekiro because the counter mechanic was too hard for me to master. Maybe I try again. It is very hard at first. Like, I struggled with that game for hours until I finally got the hang of the parrying system. Death Howl? Oh, is that a Souls-like card game? Recently finished it. Interesting. I think games with loot boxes should show you the photo of the miner quitting before reaching the diamonds when you try to quit. I'm from Europe, was in Vegas once for tech conference, stayed in casino hotel, conference venues were in casinos, spent $0, great success. Very nice, yeah. Very cool. You could also just go to a casino and put like $3 down in the slot machine and get some free drinks. Is Celeste a platforming Souls-like? I don't know. I've never played Celeste. I really do not like the remaster and do not have time to fit a comment for that. Okay, all right. All right then. I guess maybe I'm just superficial. Like I like when things look brand new and shiny. I don't think I would ever play the OG Demon's Souls because it feels very aged now. Anyway, so let me take a look at where this obelisk is actually revealing things, because I may need to change that. Where is the obelisk actually revealing things here? I can't find anything. Let's see. Let's just go to the Fog of War and check this out. Add revealed position. On node revealed, on node hidden. Well, that doesn't help. On node revealed. Map container node revealed. So we got to go to the map container. Map container, emit signal node revealed, highlight visitable nodes. Okay. Animated map node changes. If was trigger. Animated map node blessings. Animated map node animate map node changes. Okay, so this is where the changes are happening. Animated map node changes, RNG equals obelisk configuration. Set map node changes to animate. Nodes and pixel radius to event type changes. Okay. So this sets the animated map node changes. On map entered. So maybe it's the case that map node effect. What is it called? Hide revealed nodes. On map entered. Oh, it's hiding visible nodes there. Oh, I see. So I think what's happening is apply map node effect. How is it? I don't know how this is actually revealing the node though. Animate map node changes. Where is it actually? Oh, highlight visitable nodes. Nodes in obelisk radius. Oh, I see. Obelisk, get nodes in pixel radius. Okay, so the obelisk radius is being accounted for when it reveals nodes. So the obelisk is revealing all the nodes it's going to reveal first. But then this on map entered is being called. So is this just as simple as reversing this order here? So we will allow the on-map enter to trigger first, and then we're going to highlight the visible nodes, which will include the obelisk, and then the animations will go. I think that's the way to do it. I hope that slight order change doesn't break anything. I don't think so, because the only way that order change would break anything is if any of the map node effects are relying on the currently revealed nodes, but I don't think, at least that's not currently the case. Like this hide revealed nodes. So this is going to hide the visitable nodes, which will be the existing nodes that you've already visited, and then we will reveal the new ones after. So I think that's probably fine. So let's take a gander at this. It's your first time playing Demon Souls, and maybe it's fine, but to me, Bluepoint didn't get it. Okay, gotcha. 99% of children quit spending their parents' money right before they get an epic cosmetic. Did you sit in a timeshare meeting while you were in Vegas? If not, did you even get the true experience? The last time I went to Vegas was actually for a work trip, and we basically did no work, and I just sat at the blackjack table all day. That was fun. I played Sekiro like Bloodborne and had a miserable time for the first few hours. Then the Ninja Claw boss comes and you can't beat it. You know you missed something, and then it clicked. Yeah, that I know exactly what you're talking about. I got stuck the first playthrough on Sekiro. I got stuck at that exact part because I was like, how in the world am I supposed to, like, I have no room to attack. And then I was like, oh, I actually need to parry every single attack that he's throwing at me in order to beat this boss. I think Sekiro is one of the few games where I actually went and did all the achievements. Literally everyone is here today. Chat is popping. Yeah, we got a number of viewers here. Never forget the Sekiro ape fight. Oh, the ape fight is just... The ape fight is, yeah, very difficult. What was the other difficult boss in that game? Oh, the last boss is really, really hard too. But I will not spoil the last boss for anyone that has not played. Okay, I think that fixed the bug. It's a little bit weird still in terms of the animation sequencing, but that bug is fixed, so we don't need to spend a bunch of time polishing it up. So I need to put all these back. Okay. Fix obelisk focusing camera on fog of war. Feels good to have that bug done. All right, what else should we do? I still feel like going for a little bit longer, so maybe we'll do a new card or something. We're missing Adam. No, Adam's here. We solved world peace. 50 watching, yeah. I believe the record for viewers was around 70 human beings. Yeah, for me, yeah. Over 60 for a minute there, yeah. Everyone keeps dropping, though. Don't do it. I need my numbers to go up. I'm not a successful YouTuber unless numbers go up. It was 70 right after the first code review. I want to do so I have a couple of code review ideas that I want to do. Firstly, one thing that I want to do is I want to work with other developers who have successful games that are built in the Godot engine, and I want to have an interview with them where they talk about how they implemented certain features in their project. I think that would be really, really, really interesting. And the other thing I want to do is I want to do a code review series for this game where I go through, like the ability system and other things. I think that would be really helpful, but it's just there's not enough time in the day, between working on this game and making YouTube videos. And I just fixed my PS4. Need to start Sekiro again. Stopped right at the giant snake part near the beginning. Very nice. Do you interact with any other game dev YouTubers? Yes, I do. Yeah, I've been in contact with a lot of other game dev YouTubers on a semi-regular basis. Been loving the longer and extra streams. Excellent. That would be a banger idea for a video, yeah. Firebelly Games podcast. I don't know if it would be a podcast necessarily, but I definitely think there is a need, people want to see what the code and what the scene structure of a successful game looks like, and what's the best way to do that than to actually contact people who have such games and ask them to show their project and the code and everything. That would be very, very useful, I think. Very useful. All right, do we want to do a new card or some new artifacts, or maybe we do some reagents. Maybe we do some reagents. You want to do some reagents? Let's do that. So we've got a bunch of interesting reagent ability ideas here. I think this is done. Make alchemy free is a good one. Chance to add echo. Chance to double or nothing current currency. Removes a random ability from the input pool. Preserves only damage abilities. Preserves only heal abilities. Preserves only poison abilities. Change all keywords to another. That would be an interesting one. I don't know how to accomplish that. So imagine Trying to think. Oh, I need to, oops. I need to undo this as well. So imagine you've got the abomination. So let me pull that up. I don't know if I'm going to be able to accomplish this easily, but it would be something that I would love to do. Abomination. So if I look at the abomination here, and so this deals 6 damage per adjacent weapon. So imagine if I was able to put this into an alchemy and the ability structure remains unchanged, but instead of dealing damage, it will deal poison. So just flip out, like replace the damage with poison. That would be a reagent that I would love to do. So you could have deal 6 poison per adjacent weapon instead. That would completely change the game. But from a technical standpoint, I think that's going to be hard to do because I would need to go in and replace that specific ability, which may be possible. The problem though, it wouldn't necessarily be that difficult to reach into this ability and change that. The problem is that the way that my abilities work is I duplicate the abilities whenever I'm like doing alchemy. So the real tricky part is maintaining that change from damage to poison through the duplication process of that ability. Let's take a gander at it. PS4 is better than I remembered. I wonder how long it will still be supported. More often than not, they look like a giant mess. Yeah, that's... Oh, the projects, yeah. Reveal your secrets. Yeah. What a reagent? A reagent is a card that you can get that only has use in the alchemy system. Firebird. Oh, the Phoenix, yeah. Logic states that you have a list of keywords. Acknowledge if a keyword is being used. If so, replace it with that one. Yeah, I mean, it's the replacement part is not necessarily the hard part. It's the duplication part. So I'm looking at the abomination right now. Basically, what I would have to do is go through the composed ability and recursively replace every type that is a damage type into a poison type. So this dynamic damage here. So I've got this damage ability here. That is inside of this eye composite ability. Target ability. Oh, so that's going to be hard too, because I would need to detect like dynamic magnitude abilities and change the target ability here. Do I need to do that? This is an eye composite ability. Get abilities to execute. So I would need to change this target ability. That would be one situation where I need to change. And the problem is I have to do this recursively too. I have to recursively go through all of the composite abilities that are in that ability tree and replace every instance with a new thing, with a new ability. And I'm wondering if that's going to break a bunch of stuff. And then there's the duplication problem, which is that, so this composed ability, this is a function. So the composed ability takes as a single constructor argument a function which builds all of the ability together. So what I would need to do is somehow, every time this function is invoked, I'd need to detect if I should be replacing damage with poison. And I can't like go in and edit a function body at runtime. That's not something that I can do. One option is I could have like a hidden ability on the card that is always there that says all damage should be converted to poison. Although that won't work either, because if I add any new damage abilities to the card after I've changed things to poison, those new damage abilities should not be poison. So we're in kind of a pickle here. I suppose one thing I could do is I could put an ability transform function up in here. So I've got this ability configuration. Actually, let's go to my composed ability. So I could pass along another function. Would that work? So let's say I did something like protected read-only func ability configuration, or no, func base card ability, ability transformer func, something like that. And then what I would need to do is I would need to, for each var ability in ability config dot abilities, I would need to do something like yeah, so this is, I would need to recursively go through everything and do the, but basically what I would do is I would say ability, no, I probably need to do, oh, shoot. This would need to have to be a for loop. So for var I equals 0, I is less than ability config dot abilities dot count I plus plus. And then what I would need to do is I would need to say something like ability config dot abilities I is equal to ability transformer func with that ability config abilities I there. And so this function basically would accept a base card ability, and that's fine. However, if this ability here is a composite ability, then I need to recursively apply this ability transformer func for that ability as well. And then I also need to handle special cases. Like I need to say if, let's store this as an ability here. var ability is equal to ability config abilities I. Ability is equal to this, so we do the transformer func here. But then I would need to say if ability is dynamic magnitude ability, for instance, then I would need to do something like dynamic magnitude ability dot set target ability, and then I would do ability transformer func here, something like that. Now these are not actual methods there, but I would need to do that. And then if it's recursive, or if it's an iComposite ability, then what I would need to do is I need to do if ability is, where am I using the iComposite ability? Conditional ability decorator. Yeah, so here's the other problem. I've got this conditional ability decorator here as well. So there are a couple of special cases that I would need to handle. I'd basically need to also rebuild if ability is conditional ability decorator, conditional ability. I would need to rebuild the conditional with swapped out abilities. Now here's the problem though. The conditional ability decorator requires a reference to a decorated ability, whereas this ability transformer func would return a new ability instance every time. So this actually wouldn't work. So anywhere where I'm using this conditional ability decorator, so like echo ability here, actually, maybe I don't need to do that. This is a composite ability, or it's a base composed. No, wait. Where is my conditional ability decorator? Get abilities to execute decorated ability. So I would need to change this decorated ability. Well, in the interest of experimentation, well, is this approach even going to work? Public void set ability transformer func. Yeah, I would have to do something like that. So I have this get all flattened abilities. Actually, I'm wondering if I could just change it. Well, no, I probably need to change it actually inside of these classes themselves. Maybe we'll just try to get it working with the abomination. You control the type changes to, or are there only 2 damage types? I can control the damage, the ability type that it changes to, yeah. I'm gonna head out. Good luck with the bugs. Thank you, Bomb That Explodes. Appreciate that. Can you add an if statement that tells the current state how to act accordingly? Impulse and cooking. Yeah, I think I have an idea for an approach, but the problem with this approach is that I think it's going to be relatively brittle, and it might also create some unintended side effects. Anyway, let's just try it with this. So we're going to transform the ability coming in. We need to recursively apply if ability is base composed ability. We need to recursively apply this. Base composed ability. Maybe I should move public void apply ability transformations. Apply ability transformations, ability transformer funk. Actually, maybe I don't want to do that. No, maybe I don't want to do that. Oh, the other problem, shoot. There are some abilities in the game that use this base composed ability, like they just extend this. So like the alchemy abilities here, but also I've got a couple of other ones. Paralysis chance. So I may need to move this ability transformer funk to the base composed ability actually. Make this private. Something like that, I suppose. Duplicated dot ability transformer funk is equal to ability transformer funk. We get rid of this. I don't have a constructor here. So maybe what I need to do here is do protected void apply ability transformations. We already have the transformer in here. I think that's right. Apply ability transformations. Oh, but I need to pass in, yeah, I need to pass in this funk here. Ability transform funk. So now if I do apply ability transformations, ability transformer funk, we actually don't want to accept. Wait a minute. Wait a minute. What if I did this? Public void set ability transformer func. Ability transformer func apply ability transformations. We're going to pass in that transformer there. If ability is base composed ability, we are going to do this. Set ability transformer func. So we're basically going to assign the ability. We're going to transform all of the abilities that are in the ability list. If one ability is another composed ability, then we're just going to call set ability transformer func there, and that should automatically just kind of like propagate down the ability tree, I think. And so in here, we've got this ability transformer func. This is wrong. I want this to be set ability transformer func. We get rid of this. Now, is that actually going to work? Let's try it out. So now if I go to my abomination and I do this, I've got this composed ability. I can do my ability transformer func. So input ability like so. If input ability is damage ability, we are going to return, or no, we're going to do var poison is equal to new poison. And then we're going to just put the damage ability.get base magnitude. I don't know, let's see. This is like a proof of concept. I don't know if this is going to work exactly, but let's see. Oh. It broke. Oh, this, yeah, this could be apply ability. Why is this being called? Wait a minute. This should only be here if this is not null. Okay. All right, let's see if the abomination will now do poison damage. It did not. Oh, because the description is wrong. This might actually do poison though, so let's do this. I forgot the descriptions are going to need to be updated as well. This may be a little bit more of a lift than I thought it was going to be. I would love to have this feature in the game, but it may not be feasible at the current moment. Oh, and I don't even have a proper map in place. Okay. So this should do 6 poison damage now. If it worked. It didn't do any poison damage. Okay. Oh, right. I think I need to... Hold on, I'm just going to try one other thing here. If ability is dynamic magnitude ability, let's just do this. Public void set target ability. I ability magnitude. Oops. Target ability here. This probably doesn't need to be read-only anymore. And we'll do ability. Public, I ability magnitude, target ability. This is not that safe either. Yeah, I don't know if this is going to be possible. I might have to think about this a little bit better, but so maybe this does need to be base card ability. Yeah, this would be a mess if I were to... I might have to redo some things if I want this to be possible, but I just want to see if I can even get it to work. This may not be worth the effort, but we'll see. Let's see if it does poison damage now. It did not do poison damage. Okay. Well, I guess I'm not... I'm going to put this breakpoint in here and see if this works. I don't think it's going to work. Let's see. So the ability coming in is a damage ability. That ability coming in is also damage. That ability coming in is also damage. So is my ability transformer funk just not working? Oh, I forgot to return poison here. That would be why. Okay, let's actually see if this works now. So I think there's a way to get this to work. It's just going to require that I redo some things, I think. Let's see if it does poison, though. It did not. Wait, the abomination did fire? Wait a minute. Oh. No, it is applying poison. I just have this artifact here that's screwing it up. Project settings. Get rid of this wand here. So I think this is generally the approach that I'd have to take. But I'd have to update the descriptions and stuff as well to reflect the fact that the ability has changed. My descriptions are basically hard-coded, which is not ideal. So if I were to change this system to allow like having a reagent that can swap out the types of abilities that are on a card, I would need to have a more generic system for that. But yeah, the abomination is applying poison. So it works under the hood. Of course, it's not going to work universally. I'd have to really think about all the different cases in which abilities can be changed. But you can see that the abomination is applying poison instead of damage now. Now, one other thing is like, okay, I could build this system that changes all the keywords. I could change damage to poison, whatever. But is that just going to make the game super broken and not be that useful from a game design perspective anyway? I think that's possible. The other consideration would be like, do I want to change the actual scaling if I were to change an ability as well? I don't know. It's something to think about, but I think this is generally the approach that I have to take, is basically just like transform the abilities with a function. But yeah, I think this might be a little bit out of, not a little bit, a lot out of scope right now. And also I'm having my doubts, like if you could with a reagent just change all damage to a poison, that would just basically make it like so stomp worthy. Okay, so what I could do is I'm just gonna stash these changes. Stash, experiment, changing the reagent. So I'm just going to stash those changes. That may not actually be something that I should do. Number one, because it's going to be a lot of effort, and number two, because it probably will just throw the whole balance out of whack. So I'll leave that on the back burner as something that I could evaluate. I'll just put question marks here. I could leave that as a back burner as something I can evaluate later when the game develops a little bit more. But I think it's possible that maybe I could just achieve similar flexibility with other reagents as well. So yeah, I'll have to think about that. Anyway, well, that was a neat little side tangent, little side quest there. It is definitely doable in theory. It's just, yeah, it's going to require quite a lot of reworking and refactoring to get that to all work nicely across all of the cards. So a little bit too much to do right now. Anyway, but we'll definitely work on some more reagents. I might do that this afternoon, but we could also do some reagents on tomorrow's stream. But that's going to be it for the stream for this afternoon. I want to thank you all for watching and thank you all for being here. Again, you can wishlist Alchemortis on Steam. That would help me out a lot. You can also check out the Patreon, join the Discord, buy one of my courses. All that stuff is linked below. Thank you all for your support. It's greatly appreciated. And yeah, I will see you in tomorrow's stream at 10 a.m. Eastern. All right, have a good day, everyone, and I'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.